Who am I, and where am I going? Sun Myung Moon, January 23, 1977. Belvedere, New York. Translator, Colonel Bohai Pak. For each of us, our self is very important. From the moment we come into existence, our self becomes a central point of everything in our lives. Therefore, we want the society, the nation, and the world to all center upon our individual selves. This is not only true for our individual lives, but for all other levels too, for families, societies, nations, and even for God. We could say, who am I? And God could say the same thing. Therefore, the starting point for each one of us in this universal existence is I. And we must be able to understand that I. In order to understand that I, we must understand I in the context of history. History is presently approaching its consummation, the period of the end of the world. These are the last days. When people say last days, they think of two opposite things. Some think the last days are the time when everything will be consummated in a fruitful harvest. Some consider the last days to be the time when everything will dissolve into nothing. These two conclusions are absolutely exclusive of each other. One implies hope, the other implies despair. Many people today are thinking that the last days are the end of the world, when everything will be destroyed and there will only be despair. If we are living in the last days, then we must think, who am I? Each of us is encircled by the world around us. When we make the circle a little smaller, we find we are living within the boundary of the United States. We are also members of the society, of the unification movement, and also of our own families. When we lift all these circles away, we are standing at the central point. Many people look upon the central position as a position of despair. They look upon tomorrow as having no hope and wonder where they will go then. People standing in the central position certainly should not go down, or to the left or to the right. They should be able to go up. However, they do not have the energy, hope, or vision to go up. If we find ourselves in that central position in a world where hope is lost, then it is very serious for us all. We may ask the nation, please, America, help us. Give us direction for our lives and all the things that surround us. But the nation cannot answer the fundamental problems of human life. When we shout out to the world, world, come, help us, save us, the world does not respond. Our societies, our schools, our own families do not have the power to save our individual selves. Religion has been one hope. However, the religions existing today have also lost all vision. Then what shall we do? Where shall we go? We must discover this true I, or true self, and try to save ourselves. However, no individual is capable of saving himself. In this situation of world despair, if someone can say, I have the solution, I have someone who can lead me into eternal hope, that person is indeed a fortunate person. At least that person can surround himself with happy circumstances. If someone in a family can lead the way to the ultimate hope, then any person within that family is fortunate and has found the solution also. If that circle can be extended, and someone can bring the solutions to the problems on the level of society, the level of the nation and the world, then all the people in the world surrounding that person are fortunate. His solution for the world must correspond to the national solution, which must correspond to the societal solution and the family solution. If someone can do that, then that person will have unified the world through their solution. But history has never found a person who could bring hope by bringing a solution which could apply from the worldwide level all the way down to the individual level. This is why the world remains in despair. In the last days, every individual is still searching. We are still on the road, searching for a solution. Through our experience, we conclude that a person living within our own environment could not bring the solution. Many philosophies have been born in history, with each thinker trying to solve human problems through different fields, for example, through science, through literature, medicine, or philosophy. But the one field that fundamentally deals with the value of human life is religion. Religion is one field where we can concentrate our search for the ultimate solution of human problems. However, the current religions are losing their vision, so we have to search in a new, more elevated religious sphere to find new spiritual power. The important thing is that God is already involved in these events. He has His own schedule, His own master plan. He knows of the circumstances in which we live in the world of despair. He knows of our searching. Therefore, God's plan will emerge through a new religion and a new leader to let us reach the ultimate conclusion of our search. This particular solution has been manifested in the concept of the Messiah. Let us concentrate our thought on the Messiah. Why does the Messiah come? What is the content of his work? First of all, the Messiah tackles the problems of all humanity, not just one group. The Messiah brings to this world the fundamental solution for the problems of all mankind. The Messiah comes not only with the key to solve human problems, but also the key to solve heavenly problems, God's problems. Since the source of every problem has been the separation between God and man, the Messiah comes for one single purpose, to bring God and man into unity. This will solve both man's and God's problems. Where will this unity between God and man begin? What is the starting point? An American president might say that this unity must start in the White House, here in this country, because after all, America is the greatest nation. Maybe communists would want to possess God themselves, and their unity would probably begin in the Kremlin. But even if there is tranquility in the White House, if the people of America are suffering and desperately unhappy, then this has not truly solved the problems of the nation. And even if the people in the Kremlin can enjoy a rich life, as long as the people of that nation are suffering, that certainly does not represent happiness. Unity between God and man does not begin in high places in the office of the sovereign or head of state. It begins with the individual at the very bottom of human life. Even within the family of father and mother may have reason to be jubilant, but at the same time their happiness may not be shared by their children. The children may be desperately unhappy. Happiness must begin at the starting point of I. Then where is this I standing? Maybe I is at the pinnacle of the entire world, the central point of the world situation. That person might be happy in his position relating to the world, or that person might desire to have nothing to do with his surroundings. There are two manifestations of I. Which kind of I would you want to be? Everybody has a desire and ambition to become identified with the rest of the world. You do not want to just be isolated. You want to be someone special, recognized by the world. Why does everyone have that ambition? When you're standing on the pinnacle of the world, the earliest rays of the morning sun will touch you first. You will be the first recipient of the heavenly blessing. Human nature has the innate desire to be standing on the higher ground. That position is closer to God. And when the Messiah comes with ultimate hope, the person in that position can identify him first. Jesus came to Israel 2,000 years ago. Do you think he came to Israel just as the leader of that particular nation? Or did he come with a dream and desire for the entire world? No doubt he came with an ideal for the world. Tragically, the chosen people refused to accept this universal leader as the Messiah. They were not ready, but an innate human desire has not changed. Everybody is still looking for the pinnacle of the world because they know it's the best closest to the Messiah, closest to God. How about you? Are you looking for this position? It is a common human desire, regardless of your level of education. You may have gone through elementary school, or you may be a Harvard PhD. It does not make any difference. Human nature is always trying to be on higher ground, to be where the ray of hope hits first. Who am I? You should answer that question. I am the one striving toward the high point of the world, trying to be on the pinnacle of the world. That is who I am. That one central point to the position where the entire world is concentrated. The person who has arrived at this pinnacle is in a position to say, without me this world is empty and in despair. I am the one who relays the blessing from the top. Without me the rest of the world has no point to rally around. The person who can say I am the center of the world can certainly say I am the center of the nation. I am indispensable for the nation. I am indispensable for the society and the family. And finally, I am indispensable for myself. Without me, there is no I. This is the ultimate hope of I. I wants to be the center of the entire world. That is the relationship in which I wants to exist. That I cannot isolate itself from the rest of the world. When that I moves forward, then the rest of the world moves too, because that I is the center of the entire world and of society. That kind of I could not exist without being surrounded by the rest of the world. I cannot be the center of the world without a world, but today people are trying to exclude God in the whole world. They want to exist only for themselves. This cannot work. They disregard everything in existence around them, trying to be I by themselves. However, one cannot exist by oneself. When you say center, your meaning implies the existence of the rest of the world. A center does not come first. The world comes first. If you want to stand in the pinnacle of the world, the important thing is whether you want to become the center of the world. Each one of you must realize and say, I am responsible for the world. That awakening will bring you to the center. It is logical that blessing and responsibility come together. Most people say, I want the honor of being the center of the world, but I do not desire to be responsible for the world. Is that how you are thinking, or do you think, I'm going to be the center of the world because I want to take up the responsibility for the world? Which one? Instead of putting themselves in the center of the world, most people are trying to move the world to their center. They stand fast and do not want to budge. They say, let the world come to me and make me the center. Is that possible? In relation to the rest of the world, the center is always an equal distance from any edge. You travel the same distance in any direction. To reach the edge of the circle, a person might say, I'm American, so I'm close to America, but I'm a little distant from Asians, Europeans, and Africans. Then that person is not exactly at the center. That person is somewhat distorted, somewhat off-center. The person at the exact center of the circle has an attitude and personality that is completely accommodating and embracing. If a person says, I'm a white man, so I don't care about blacks or yellows or any other race, then he is not perfectly in the center. That person could perhaps become the center of the white race, but certainly not of all the races of the world. Then what kind of person must the Messiah be? The Messiah is the first person to put himself on the pinnacle of the world, to perfectly position himself at the center. Who can have rapport with the Messiah when he comes to this world? In America, some people think only of themselves and are very individualistic. Could these people possibly establish rapport with the coming Messiah? They have an entirely different outlook on life. Is the philosophy of that kind of individualistic and egoistic person parallel with the philosophy of the Messiah? Because the Messiah is coming with a universal concept and therefore universal equality, anyone who pursues individualism is the enemy of the Messiah. When someone says he wants to become the pinnacle of the world, the center of the world, what he means is that he wants to inherit the Messiah's concept, the messianic ideal. The Messiah is looking for people of that philosophy and conviction. And ultimately speaking, such people are striving to become messiahs themselves. Simply said, people just want to follow the Messiah and imitate him. And finally, they want to make themselves actual messiahs. The central position of the Messiah is the position of God. The Messiah and God hold one concept. Anyone who is following the mandate or teachings of the Messiah is initially a follower and disciple, but later, that disciple will not even need instruction. He will automatically think the same as the Messiah. He will act and work and live by the same concept as the Messiah, elevating himself to the position of the Messiah. When the Messiah comes, he's looking for such ready people. Why is that? There are people who are ready to be positioned in the center of the world in the Messiah's position. God and the Messiah are seeking such people because it is easier. Such people do not need much training. They are already disciplined and educated to take the position of the Messiah. When the Messiah comes and actually mobilizes such people, he can make that family a Messiah's family. He can make that society a Messiah's society, and that nation a Messiah's nation. Think of yourself. What kind of person are you? Do you need lots of training to become a Messiah, or are you disciplined and ready? Just waiting to be touched, and you will become a Messiah. What kind of person are you? When the Messiah comes as the center of the universe and summons you to come to the center, you are a person who will say, yes, sir, I will be with you in a second, or will you say, no, sir, I don't want to move. You come and stay with me. If your original position is one place, but you are summoned to the center, should you take all your surroundings with you and slowly but surely get there? Or should you be revolutionary, taking off the shackles of your old surroundings, dashing like a bullet? Will you keep all the old wires and ropes fastened to you so you can always be pulled back to your old position, or will you chop them all off? The important thing to realize is you have to get rid of your old position and shackles to move to the position of the Messiah. You can plan to go back to your old surroundings someday, or you can completely get rid of them and stay in your new position for eternity. As a member of the unification movement, it's very important to establish the second attitude. You're not moving anywhere else but to a higher central position. When you consummate your mission, there you will not have to go back to influence your old place because you will already be the center of the world. You can lift up your old surroundings As you elevate yourself in the center of the world, your direction is one-way street. There is no reason for you to go back to the past position. This is history. When saints and holy men undertake a cause of righteousness and justice, there's no way to retreat. When you begin your march toward the central position, then you must not go back. This is very important. For example, when you become a true patriot to save America, you need to sacrifice your individual surroundings. By the same token, when your cause is for the sake of the world, then an even greater sacrifice of your individual surroundings is needed. Even your closest loved ones, your wife, your husband, could be an obstacle when you undertake this holy mission. But if you sacrifice them, even disregarding them at times, and closing your eyes to all your individual circumstances, you can raise yourself up to fulfill the highest possible mission. By doing that, you are inflicting sacrifice on your surroundings. Should this be regarded as sin? When a person is moving toward the center, it might look like he's cruelly leaving his wife and children and all his circumstances to go to the highest position. However, by doing so, he's doing the most good for his own family. By reaching her destination, she has a chance to bring them into that center too. The view that the road of a saint is a one-way street upward and forward is part of Eastern philosophy. The loyal subject of a nation or king walks a one-way street of loyalty, never looking back. But this corresponds to your own understanding. It makes sense in Western philosophy, doesn't it? Let's look at my life from this standpoint. In spite of going through hardships for 30 years, I still forged ahead toward the higher goal and came to America. Here, too, I am receiving tremendous persecution and being mistreated. But from this principle, should I go back to my comfortable place in Korea? Is that what the righteous person should do? Or should I follow the one-way street upward? Is your advice to go straight forward when you say, "That is my advice, Father"? That means you are actually saying, "Father, we are willing to back you up. We are willing to follow you, or even beat you and go ahead of you." Are you saying that? So far I am a lonely runner, running only by myself, with nobody beside me or in front of me. After 30 years of running, I would like to see someone running faster than I am, saying, "Father, just hold my hand, I will pull you." Are you going to be that kind of person? There are many ways you can go. You can go slowly, taking all the time you want for relaxation, food, sleep, and worldly enjoyment. But it might take you a millennium to get there. Would you go that way? Or would you forget everything else and go like a dashing bullet? That dashing bullet is a very important phrase this morning. Do you think this world needs a movement to push people and fire them up so they rush toward the center? Logically, you can say yes, but are you reluctant to accept it? There are many ambitious people outside wanting to be recognized and to excel in the world, but when I ask what they would do to become famous, they do not have an answer. They do not even have a clear vision of their reason for wanting to become famous. In the world, many scholars strive today, day in and day out, to become famous. While they are working so hard, they sacrifice many things and become old and pale. But then once they become famous, they wonder, what was my purpose? Why did I push myself so hard to become famous? Even once they are recognized, they feel such emptiness, even despair. Many people strive toward very ambitious goals in the political and academic worlds. But once they attain them, they realize actually their dream was not fulfilled through those ambitions. Only when your dream is parallel to the dream of God and the dream of the Messiah will you be fulfilled. When you reach your pinnacle, you have such a completely consummated feeling in your life that you feel utterly rich and full of hope and blessing. The person who truly recognizes God, recognizes the Messiah's ideal, the ultimate purpose of this world, will never end up in despair. However, without that ideal, even though you go higher and higher, your despair will go deeper and your life darker. America has another new president, Jimmy Carter. He's become an American hero. But what will history say about him? He must still prove himself. Is he living for his own ego and accomplishment? Or can he be a hero for America and the world? More important, can he be a hero in history, a hero in the sight of God? I wonder what he thinks about his own mission. Is he thinking in terms of the heavenly dispensation for all of humanity, in terms of the entire world? What kind of president will he be? He's facing a very severe test. What kind of American president would God want? He wants a God-centered one, right? Communists have no hope because they deny the vertical, central position of God. When the communist world sinks down to the bottom of despair, it has no hope to recover. But no matter how desperate the free world becomes, as long as it accepts God and keeps connected to the one vertical line to God, the Spirit of God can come down and give revival and restoration. That has been the history of God. Humanity has fallen down to the dungeon of hell so many times throughout history, but with God there is always one vertical line of life and hope to bring mankind back. Why is there so much despair outside today? Simply because the people do not know God. The moment we know the existence of God, His purpose, His will, His love, then our despair turns into hope. Is that true? I am sure this concept is clear to you. Let us expound for a moment on who am I in the unification movement. First of all, what is the unification movement? This nation has been mistreating the unification movement because the people do not understand our purpose. They wonder who I am, what kind of person I am. Am I someone who wants to become the 40th President of the United States? Or who wants to become a billionaire and live with 1,000 servants? What kind of person am I? The answer is very simple. I am a person who brought hope to this world of despair. What kind of hope? I am bringing the reality of God to man's life, letting mankind see God. This world is in despair because it has no central figure and no center. Without a center, this world has to be in confusion. Certainly none of you knows what your center is, or America's center, or the world's center. Therefore you cannot relate yourself to anything stable or of value. And there is confusion. There must be some central vertical line from heaven, plus a horizontal line in a 90-degree angle. There should be clear-cut vertical and horizontal lines, but instead, people draw their own lines at many different angles. All over the world, everyone is drawing his own lines. There are not many people who are confident that they can intersect with a vertical line and become one with the center. For the proper relationship, there must be a 90-degree angle between God and the horizontal line. We're searching for the position where we can have that 90-degree angle. There's one central vertical line, and in relation to it, there's only one horizontal line at a 90-degree angle. Your line must not have the same length as the worldwide or universal line. It may be very short, however. It is very important that your line, on the family scale or societal scale, be at a 90-degree angle to the vertical line. This world has not yet seen this central vertical line because the world has no model to align itself with. People continue to make all kinds of lines at random, thinking they are parallel with the horizontal line. They can think this only because they do not have a central point. Some philosophies have a person standing upside down and backwards and still present him as the center of the world. Do you know we need such a clear-cut vertical line? In the unification movement, we are striving to know that vertical line. At the family level, your line is not too high, but you are going to be absolutely straight and parallel to the central example. Then you have a guarantee of heaven. In English, you say a person has a clear conscience, but in Korean, we say his conscience is very straight. As we progress from the family level to the societal level, to the national level and so forth, we make constant progress along the vertical line. Now most of you are pursuing your own individual course horizontally. This is the direction of achievement. As you progress more, you will rise along the vertical line, moving toward higher development. This is the way of life of the unification movement. Shall we stay still or go on? What men badly need today is an example, so they can see with their own eyes what is righteous. God is revealing that right direction or vertical line in the form of a new religion. Through it, people can come to clearly see God with their own eyes. Even if I do not speak to you, are you still bubbling with enthusiasm every day to develop more? Has this been your goal? Where are we? Let us each determine what our true position is as an individual. How much territory have you covered? Where am I standing? How much am I ahead of you? Or how much behind? Have I covered the entire territory? Or am I somewhere along the way? Does the unification movement have its own sovereignty, its own nation? Do we have our own heavenly world? We have not yet broken through the national boundaries, nor are we universally united yet. If I had a worldwide foundation large enough that I could really push upward beyond the national level, then do you think any more persecution would come? What I am saying is very important. We still have a higher goal to achieve. America has not been saved yet. The world is lying there waiting for salvation. I have accomplished all the conditions that are needed for the spiritual victory. Therefore, even if I died today, this movement would still succeed. The day of glorious victory would come. However, our job is still ahead of us. Do you think that I am the one who will be the champion and leader? You must be the champions of this world and of God. You must lead this nation and this world into salvation. That work remains to be done. Shall we go? We must determine to go. Will you say, "Oh, Father, the weather is so cold. Could you give us just a little bit of time to relax?" Or will you go regardless of the weather, regardless of the temperature, regardless of the time of day or night? When you are shivering and cold, will you go backward or forward? You have a tendency to stand still. Do you want to have me come push you forward or say, "You just stand there and rest"? Actually, I do not like pushing. There are 3 choices: to go forward, to stand still, or to retreat. Which is your choice? I want you to know one important thing. It is your destiny to go forward. Whether you like it or not, whether at your own will or someone else's will, regardless, you must get there. As you go forward, your achievement is greater. You are entitled to a higher heaven. God is so willing to push you because this is your only opportunity. In His love, God is ready to push you, even club you. If a person will accept it and persevere through such pushing, even crying, but still striving to go forward, God will push. There's no mercy in this situation. The problem is that God hesitates to do it because if He pushes you too much, you might just collapse, and that would disappoint Him so much. He is inspired by the kind of person who can take a beating, saying, "Father, come after me. Push me all of the way. You men and women are dynamos. You must always have energy for thrusting yourself forward, for running within yourself." What is today's topic? It is, who am I? The answer to that question should be, I am going to be the one who can achieve heaven, the one who consummates the ultimate heaven. Can you say that? You must know that you cannot go alone. You are the center of the world. You must bring your family with you, your society with you, your nation and world with you. That is your burden, in accordance with the principle formula. If there is a person prepared to take this responsibility when the Messiah comes, then the Messiah cannot go anywhere else but to that person. There's no other way that God and the Messiah can fulfill the mission. The unification movement is a religion, needed by the Messiah, needed by God. The unification movement is showing the world that we can become parallel to the central line, how we can make our own vertical line on the family level, societal level, national level, worldwide level, and cosmic level. The unification movement has a blueprint so that each individual can achieve the ultimate destination. What the world will say about me does not matter. The important thing is whether we are on the right track, as long as we have the right principle, whether we have connected with the Messiah or God. Yet does not make any difference. We do not have to worry. The Messiah and God will come to us. If this is not the truth, then you do not have to worry further, because that would mean there is no God. And if there is no God, we do not need to worry about anything. As long as God exists, this must be the truth. And as long as this is the truth, it will be our way of life. The unification movement is the new religion, which is to achieve this ultimate goal. We have a highway of the truth laid all the way to the top of the world. By achieving that pinnacle, we are going to liberate humanity, and most important, liberate God. On that day, I too will be liberated. A few moments ago, I said this is your destiny. But this is also the destiny of the world, the destiny of humanity. But what a blessing! God has shown the destiny to us first. He has made us pioneers of the eternal heaven. We have been handpicked by God as pioneers of that heaven. You're living as historical persons. You have an historic responsibility, an historic mission calling you. Shall we go? This is a war. It's a battle, and regardless of the sacrifice, we must go on. Some might falter and some casualties might be suffered, but we still must go. There's no other choice. Actually, you have a very easy path, because you have me as a pathfinder in front of you. Without my being in America, it would be 10 times, 100 times more difficult. That is really your golden era. The important thing I want you to know is that I will not be here forever. If America fails to become the center of the world, if America fails to respond to the worldwide mission, then I must go somewhere to people who will rise to the worldwide mission. Historically, we have never seen such a pattern. If the young people of America unite with me, if you and I become one, We can make a new history. Nowhere in the history of America, in the Western world, have there been young people calling an Oriental man father. The word father is abused. In the Catholic Church, they call priests father. But in our unification ideology, father has a different meaning. It is an historical event. Why should the brilliant young people of America try to follow me, giving up everything to take up a sacrificial way of life? It is because they see the truth. They see that there is no greater hope, no greater future than this one. You are these young people of vision. Your vision conceives of the greatest hope and future, and you know you cannot find it anywhere else. The future of America, the future of the world, lies only in the youth of this nation. The world shall bless you. Who am I? That is my subject this morning. The answer is, I am the one who conquers the despair of the world. I am the one who conquers the concept of the last days, which is not a time of despair, but of the greatest hope. I am the one who can go over the hill. I am the one to meet the Messiah on prepared flat ground instead of on a rugged mountain. I am the one who is going to be the pathfinder, the pioneer, the one who will have the groundwork ready to welcome the Messiah. Where would you like to meet him? On a small foothill, on the second hill or third hill, or beyond the hill of the universe? Where would you like to meet him? Where would you like to meet God? Here or high above? Since God is staying over there, if you say, God, wait for me there, it means you are going to go this way without God's help. You're promising that to God, saying, God, don't worry about me. Stay there. I'll get there. Are you confident of that? Do you desperately need the help of God? Are you going to desperately help God? This is not the time for long prayers, but only short, terse prayers. That is all we need. What we need is action in faith. In our case, our search is over because we know the center of the family, the center of the society, the center of the world. All we have to do is get there and be with Him and just live out our destiny. You already know the truth. Now, if you do not act according to the truth and live the truth, then the rest of the world will accuse you. You cannot excuse yourself saying, you did not know the truth. You knew the center, but still you lazed around and were idle. The entire world, all of humanity, even the spirit world and your surroundings will accuse you. You will become the target of accusation. The destiny of entire spirit world and humanity rests on your shoulders. If you become idle or weak, the consequences will affect not only you, but the rest of the world and the entire spirit world. They will definitely look upon you as an enemy. You knew the truth and you did not act upon it. You will make yourself God's and my adversary. The person who does not know the truth has one excuse. God, I did not know. But in the unification movement, no excuse will work. Those who say, no, I still don't know anything, raise your hand. If you know, then you must go and act. Since I know the truth, I cannot just stand still. I have to be on the move. Regardless of what the world will say, I will still go. My responsibility is to let the world know in the shortest possible time. This proclamation came to a climax in the year 1976. It does not make any difference if they took it positively or negatively. In 1976, I let the world know my declaration. Now the people of the world have no excuse in the sight of God. They will say to God, oh, I heard about Reverend Moon, but I heard only bad things about him. That excuse will not work in the sight of God. God will say, why didn't you investigate? In history, all the righteous men have been persecuted and misunderstood. Even though you heard negative things about Reverend Moon, why didn't you go and find out who he was? The people have no excuse. In 1975, I sent out missionaries to 120 nations of the world. I knew that incredible suffering, tribulation, and persecution would come to them. Why did I do it? I had to let the world know, so that in the dark day of judgment, the world would be without excuse. For the first time in mission history in the world of religion, missionaries from formerly enemy nations were sent out together. One Japanese, one American, and one German. Has history ever recorded that kind of mission work? Because of that, our missionaries make even greater controversy and upheaval in those nations. My aim is for the representatives of these nations, Germany, Japan, and the United States, to be eye-catching, because they are so very different from any other representatives in all of mission history. A nation has more reason to investigate why they came. Therefore, that nation will be without excuse later on. I have fulfilled my responsibility and am now free from accusation. I have done the work in goodness for the purpose of salvation. Only pure desire, sacrificial work, and genuine labor of blood and sweat are here. If people in the world respond only negatively, it is not our responsibility, but their responsibility. I will have reason to accuse them. I sent missionaries to each nation to create a base to elevate the spirit world. Now people in the spirit world cannot say to me, Why didn't you send your missionary to my country? No one can say that. They cannot accuse me that I did not do something for each nation. If I were elevated to the spirit world without having sent missionaries to Africa, the African people would say, you talked about world brotherhood under the fatherhood of God, but actually you didn't accomplish that. Why didn't you send missionaries to the African continent? But now they can no longer say that. In spirit world, no person, including the heads of state of the 120 nations of the world, can say, Reverend Moon, you have such a wonderful truth. Why didn't you come and tell our people? Could the American young people say? Why did you pay attention only to the Unification Church young people and not share it with us outside? I visited all 50 states of America, not leaving even one state out. 10 years ago, even before anybody knew of me, I established 120 holy grounds in different parts of the world, but more than 60 of them were here in America alone. I gave so much to this country. Nobody can accuse me of neglecting my responsibility. Since 1960, I have had the responsibility of going out to the world to proclaim the truth of God. Particularly in recent years, I have been accomplishing a special dispensation to inform the world. Now at least they know about us, whether they have a good impression or bad. Yankee Stadium, Washington Monument rallies were not just national, but worldwide events. Certainly, the American people are left without the excuse that they did not hear about Reverend Moon. If someone has not heard about me, therefore I have accomplished my responsibility. I have done the work necessary to free myself from any accusation, from the contemporary world and the spirit world. Indeed, the year of 1976 is the year of Reverend Moon in history, the year of the Unification Movement Church. In the January issues of some of the major magazines like Newsweek and People, there were summaries of 1976 events, and I was included, not because they liked me, because they had to list me as an event of 1976. I have been personally proclaiming the truth for the sake of the American people, for the sake of the world, and for the entire spirit world. There was much negativity directed at our movement, but the Washington Monument victory was one positive note. Because of that event, people had to recognize me as a man of strength, a man of organization, a man of action, and a man of my word. I am sure you vividly recall Yankee Stadium. I addressed the American people, but actually I was speaking to the world. I said, I came to America as a doctor to heal this wounded land. I came as a firefighter because this house is on fire. Nobody else can make such statements. I do not think the American president can, nor can American youth, or Norman Vincent Peale, or Billy Graham. I also knew I was addressing history, not just contemporary America. History will establish this as truth. At Washington Monument, I proclaimed that I came to guide the young people into becoming the leaders of tomorrow's America, tomorrow's world. Can eminent professors or the religious leaders of America make such a statement? Even the presidents have never claimed to guide the American young people into becoming the leaders of tomorrow. Perhaps some people are scornful of me. Never mind. History will tell the truth. Under opposition, I have had the courage and dynamic strength and conviction to proclaim that I came to save the young people of America. In Washington Post and New York Times, we were recorded in history. Nobody can say, well, I didn't know about Reverend Moon. I didn't hear about him. The year 1976 was a year of history-making events. Because of the victory I won in 1976 here in America, the entire world has been liberated and united. They are in jubilant celebration. All the barriers and divisions of the different denominations and religions have been broken down. Spirit world is enthusiastic in welcoming my work. This is why I proclaim the day of the victory of heaven on October 4th, 1976. Because there has been great divisions in the spirit world, and because it is the world of cause, my strategy focused on it. In the spirit world, there are Buddhists, Muslims, Christians, and people of every religion, all in their own separate communities. Since my victory here on earth, all these barriers have been broken down. This is why I can proclaim the victory of heaven. There are no more boundaries in the spirit world, the subject world of cause. Therefore, sooner or later, that will be reflected in the object world of the flesh. Then national and religious boundaries here on earth will be broken down. A wave of spiritual assault is now crashing onto the physical world. The entire spirit world is descending not only to the free world, but to the communist world as well. Spirit world is 100% with us. Therefore, spirit world cannot leave anyone alone who comes to oppose my cause unrighteously, but will chastise them. You will see, I have a plan, and God has a plan to fill the entire environment with spiritual power. Spirits will come in a first wave, second wave, third wave. I have prepared wave after wave to assault the earth. This means that you are in Adam's and Eve's position, with the entire spirit world in the archangelic position. Are you, Adam, and you, Eve, going to fall behind the spirit world? Are you going to be led by the archangel? Are you fallen Adam and fallen Eve? Are you the one who brought sin to the world, binding God and bringing tragedy to the world? Or are you the one to restore all things to God, bringing liberation to God and to me? Which one? Do you stand below the fallen level or above? Do you still have the possibility of falling, or did you get rid of the possibility? Will your mind, if you have no chance to get married, to fulfill the will of God, you must first become perfected Eve, before you can be blessed and have a family. After you are perfected, you will bring great sorrow to God or only joy. In order to bring a life of joy to God, you have to bring the entire world to Him. Then you can say, Father, I want to be blessed. Then God will say, certainly you deserve it. But you cannot be blessed even 1 inch before that. That is the principle. Which one should come first, your marriage or the fulfillment of the will of God? How about you, Adam? Dumb Adam, you were caught by cunning Eve. You lost your subject position. That is why the entire world has become like this dumb Adam. What will you do? Will you say, Father, we don't need that sly, cunning Eve. We will just do the will of God first. When temptation comes from Eve, then will you just completely black out the will of God as your eyes go in her direction? No, if I say, I want to bless this group of people here, would you just sit there or would you move over here? What is your honest opinion? Once again we come back to the subject of the morning. Who am I? You should answer, I'm not fallen Adam or fallen Eve. I am Adam or Eve, who will restore God's wishes and bring liberation to God and humanity. That is who I am. When Adam is perfected as an individual, he will automatically become the center of the family, the center of the society, the center of the nation and the world. That was God's original plan, and we must restore that tradition. We want to become Adam and Eve as the center of the universe, and the entire universe will rest upon our shoulders. When you are perfected and fulfill your mission as Adam and Eve together, all heaven and earth will be united. We will indeed be the fulfillment of the will of God, the fulfillment of His joy, and the fulfillment of the kingdom of God here on earth. Restored, fulfilled Adam is full of joy. He will be so jubilant that all heaven and earth will envy and respect him. Are you ready to become that kind of Adam and Eve? There are 2 ways to go in the Unification Church. One way is to just go along passively and reluctantly, without any stamina or enthusiasm. The person going that way will never make it to the end. The other way is to go ahead of everybody with bubbling enthusiasm, burning with zeal and ambition, possessing a perfect understanding of the will of God. Would you go this way? It's a cold day, and working outside witnessing and fundraising is not that easy. Even though your whole body is shivering and going backward, will you remember that I said to you, you have to go willingly and with jubilance and bubbling enthusiasm? Is that attitude truly in your heart, or are you just trying to be that way? We are involved in serious business. Who are you? Who am I? We are the perfected, restored Adam and Eve. When we look outside the window, we see a world dying, trembling in despair. Satan is holding the people, binding them and making them his prisoners. They are victims of Satan. Would you just look on as a bystander or spectator, or would you feel indignation and go out and do something about it? Do you feel that indignation and wrath of God? Do you feel like saying, Satan, you brought misery to the Garden of Eden. You brought misery to the heart of God. As God's child, I will not let you alone. I will not let you go. I will liquidate you. I'll fight and win. Do you feel that burning wrath of God towards Satan? You can be one of 2 kinds of people. One is the kind that Satan sees and says, Yow, this is a giant coming. must take over. And Satan will run. The other kind of person Satan sees and says, oh, that Adam, what is he? I have nothing to fear from him. What kind of Adam and Eve are you? The person who Satan laughs at or runs away from? Once again, we come back to the subject, who am I? Can you answer? I am the exterminator of Satan. That is who I am. Are you? When you go down a street in New York and you see certain ungodly, immoral things going on, don't you feel the indignation and wrath of God towards this? Or are you apathetic, just passing by? Looking at the American youth corrupt by drugs, free sex, and immoral acts, dying every day, being victimized by Satan every day. Do you feel apathy towards them? Or do you feel the responsibility and wrath of God to do something about it? We will create an America which God can love, from the common people all the way up to the President of the United States. Today, if you have pledged yourselves to such a responsibility, shall we just go home? Or shall we show in some public place that we will truly take up the responsibility? Then are you going to be Adam and Eve who will liberate God and liquidate Satan and bring America to be the God-favored nation of the world? America's dying. The world is dying. New York must be a spiritual volcano, exploding with spiritual power and achievement. I am expecting it from you. Go out from today. Get down to work and bring the result. Everybody is in the same situation. You must get down to work. I set the rule. Everybody must earn 3 meals a day. If you do not go out to witness, that meal will accuse you. Are you doing that? Do you feel good when I scold you? Even if you do not want to hear this, you must accept it fully. If you try to reject it, you will be accused permanently. You cannot say, "Oh, I don't want to hear that. It makes me very sad and uncomfortable." America is going into an era of turmoil. Carter is the 39th president, and X is the 40th president. The number 40 is very significant in the history of the dispensation. Therefore, this period of time in American history is going to be marked by great upheaval and difficulty. America is heading toward an unprecedented crisis. America is coming into an age of realization and awakening, and Americans must analyze the present government and the people involved in it and surrounding it. Maybe President Carter has a brilliant mind and good heart, but perhaps the people surrounding him are deeply corrupted. So many communists are behind the scenes to take advantage of him. In my prayer, I am deeply concerned for America. Much more so than any previous time, the Carter administration has indicated they will seek to withdraw armed forces from Korea. Carter already spoke about this shortly before his inauguration. This shows that America's traditional foreign policies of standing up for freedom in the world is in danger. Americans have been willing to sacrifice for the sake of brothers who were the victims of communist aggression in other lands. That was the tradition since the time of Roosevelt and Truman. But it seems that America's foreign policy is turning into a mockery and is retreating into a weak position. Already America has lost so much credibility in the opinions of most nations. Many nations are no longer expect America to be a world leader. They've already given up hope for America. For America to safeguard even its own safety, Asia, more than Europe, is in a critical, pivotal position. Withdrawal from Asia will bring danger to the very shores of America. Russia is seeking to move into the Pacific Ocean. Soviet Russia is much bolder than the United States. Alaska is situated side by side with Russia. Any turmoil in Asia will rapidly bring about an emergency situation there, and then within 5 years America will be fighting another formidable world war. In World War II, Japan was hostile to America. But once the communists take it over, the Japan of the past will look like a peanut compared to the new formidable enemy America will have to face. Look at Canada. Canada's internal problem is severe. The French and British people of Canada are divided almost to the point of civil war. Canada is not just some faraway land. If civil war breaks out in Canada, America's adversaries will dedicate themselves to bringing about the same situation in this country too. Underground communists are ultimately dedicated to breaking down this nation. My conviction is that America must be strong and again take up the responsibility of the world. America must be aggressive in its Asian policy, taking initiative and positive, strong, determined action. This alone can save Asia. In order to stir up that kind of spirit here in America, revival of Christianity is important. It has to come. That is why here in America I'm starting a revolution to awaken a new spirit of sacrifice, love, and service. From its leadership down to its grassroots, America must rearm itself with a new spiritual force. That alone can turn the tide in America. But God cannot trust the established churches to do this. Recently I received a very secret letter from 2 young people who were planted as underground communist agents. They had a certain motivation to write me and expose their tactics. They are distributing money to communists who are sent out to churches on Sunday. They appear to be absolutely devout Christians and give lots of money to the church. And through this they control the pastor, the church administration, and sometimes actually infiltrate as pastors themselves. These young people revealed that many communist priests, pastors, and ministers have already infiltrated into various church hierarchies. Communists are promoting Christianity because one day they want to utilize Christianity to set up a revolution. The churches have that kind of atmosphere that allows them to become instruments for an ultimate communist takeover. This is what is happening today. In Korea, there are many Christians who oppose Korea and maintain a hardline pro-communist policy. In the name of Christianity and human rights, they are trying to tear down the anti-communist posture and discredit such leadership. We must deeply understand that another line is trying to infiltrate behind the Christian churches. One day they will use the Christian churches as their bases of operation. This is the reality happening right now in America. What can we do under these circumstances? principal communist tactic is division. They set up division everywhere. When they infiltrate Christianity, they will make division between Judaism and Christianity. Communists now are uniting Judaism and Christianity, both Protestant and Catholic, to oppose the Unification Church movement. This is their goal and cherished plan. When this plan is succeeded, they will move to the next step, and after dividing Judaism and Christianity, they will pit them against each other. Although we embrace all religions of the world, they are trying to accuse us of being anti-Semitic. This is far from the truth, but they are using it as an instrument to bring about a confrontation between Judaism and the Unification Church movement. Under those circumstances, the Unification movement must make firm foundation in the next 2 years, 1977 and 1978. Unless we do that, America is without hope, and its future will be very, very dismal. This is our goal. With that understanding, you must go and reach out. Do you think this handful of people is large enough and good enough to influence and move America? Realistically speaking, what we need in New York alone is 5,000 members. That is why I prepared a center with a 5,000-member capacity. You have that center in the New Yorker, but most of the rooms are empty. If the New Yorker is filled with enthusiastic members, then I can clean up New York. Those who do not contribute to witnessing and evangelizing do not deserve to remain in New York. Mr. Kamiyama has been assigned as the head of the IOWC team, but I am now giving him an emergency mission. He must leave the IOWC mission in Boston under Aiden Berry or some other leader, and together with Dr. Bergman, come up with a most sound, exciting plan to evangelize New York. I want you to have a most spectacular achievement in the next few weeks and months. Dr. Bergman, you must become a complete object to Mr. Kamiyama. Become completely one and come up with an aggressive and evangelistic movement in New York. I want to give a special mandate to the Japanese members. You did not come here to America to be idle. Unless each of you fulfills the 1 person per month ratio in America, all of you must return to your own country. I will not stay in New York all of the time, but will go around the entire nation from one place to the next each day. In the last couple of weeks, I went to several places, and I felt so deeply touched by the members who were waiting, begging me to stay a little longer. They were waiting for my visit for so long that I almost felt guilty in front of them. American members, even though I gave a special mandate to the Japanese members, you're not going to be defeated by them, are you? The Japanese members are working with many handicaps in language and cultural background. After all, you are the hosts and hostesses in this city and nation. The Japanese are going out and trying to witness to the American people with such tremendous difficulty. I want you to know that. American brothers and sisters, you're the ones to really move ahead in the forefront and set the example. Now in the winter time is the best time for witnessing, not spring or summer, when there are too many other attractions. I trust you are going to fulfill and deliver the results as you pledged already before heaven and earth.